Hello everyone, welcome to the IP routing training. In this lesson, I will briefly talk about the topics I will cover during the training. In the first part, I will explain the installation and use of EVE-NG for those who do not know how to use the EVE-NG Network Simulator program. If you know how to use EVE-NG, you can skip this section. In the second part, I will talk about the basics of IP routing, static routing, and IP version 6 static routing. In Chapter 3, I will explain EIGRP routing. I will talk about the basics of EIGRP. We will make a sample configuration for EIGRP. We will complete this section by making labs for EIGRP route summarization, distribution list filtering, EIGRP version 6 configuration, and route summarization examples. In Chapter 4, I will explain the basics of OSPF. We will do a sample lab study for OSPF configuration. I will explain the OSPF designated router and backup designated router selection. I will talk about OSPF areas. We will configure OSPF multi-area and we will cover OSPF summarization. Then we will complete this section after covering OSPF version 3 topics. In Chapter 5, we will cover ISAS routing. In our first lesson, I will explain the basics of ISAS. In our second lesson, I will talk about ISAS routing levels, metrics. In our third lesson, I will talk about the packet types of ISAS. In the next lessons, we will do a lab for ISAS level 1 and level 2 routing. Then we will make a lab for multi-area routing and ISAS. And finally, we will complete this section by making a lab for ISAS IP version 6. In our last part, we will cover BGP topics. In our first lesson I will talk about the basics of BGP. In our second lesson we will do BGP configuration. In our third lesson we will do multi-protocol BGP configuration. Then we will complete our training by covering BGP route summarization and BGP path selection.